Okay, now we will discuss about the very short answers, that is 2 marks answers particularly. As many 2 marks answers are there, very short answers are there, we can't expect that actually this may be coming in the examination, but important 2 marks if you are revising quickly, particularly from the first unit if you are taking diversity of the living world. Metabolism is the first, actually very important here. Metabolism is a phenomenon in which what is happening, catabolism and anabolism takes place. We have to explain about the anabolism method. Anabolism it means synthesis, catabolism it means breakdown. That is the metabolism we had. Then biogenesis is a phenomenon of production of the living organisms from the living ones only. That means formation of the living organisms from the living ones we are calling as a biogenesis. Apart from that thing, in the first unit actually, trinomial nomenclature always indicate which the name is consisting of 3 names: genus, species and subspecies. Example we can take as Carvus splendens, Carvus splendens insolens, Carvus splendens prodigatus, Homo sapiens sapiens. In that example, compulsory we have to indicate about which is genus, species, subspecies. Here, one example is enough. And tautonymy is a phenomenon in which what is happening, genus name and species name both are same. That is the tautonymy we are saying. Axis example, spotted deer, naja, cobra. But take into mind that actually particularly, whenever you are writing the scientific name, compulsory species letter should be with small letter only. Don't write the capital letter. Then ICZN, International Code for the Zoological Nomenclature, that you have to remember. Then IUCN, International Union for the Conservation of Nature and Natural Resources. In the red data books, actually the species which are endangered, which are going to extinct, that details will be entered in the red data books, that we have to see particularly. And ecological diversities, alpha, beta, gamma diversities, and species richness definition. Species richness, it means here particularly the species, number of species which has more in number in a particular area, we are calling as a species richness. Then we have to give the formula of the species richness. Then branches of zoology, from the branches of zoology, compulsory one we will get in the examination: embryology, ethology, morphology, cytology, whatever it may be. From the branches of zoology, one we may get in the examination. This is about the first unit. Then about the sacred groups, particularly 4 sacred groups. List out the 4 sacred groups they are saying particularly: Sarguja and Bastar, Chhattisgarh; Kasi Jantia, Meghalaya we are saying; Chanda, Madhya Pradesh; then Western Ghats, Karnataka and Maharashtra. These 4 are the examples of the particular sacred groups. And biodiversity hotspots, 4 marks. They were asking also for the 4 marks here. Biodiversity hotspots are the areas where the organisms are present or animals are present, where they are facing the threat to extinct. That is the biodiversity hotspots. Norman Mayer is a scientist, particularly he has given the concept of the biodiversity hotspots. Totally what is happening here, for the conservation of the biodiversity hotspots, in situ conservation also we are taking into consideration. Totally 17 biosphere reserves we had, 448 sanctuaries we had, and nearly 90 national parks we had in our country particularly. And this is about the first unit. If you are going for the second unit particularly, second unit, cephalization we are saying. Cephalization is a phenomenon of concentration of the nerves and sensory nerves and sensory neurons at the anterior end, we are calling as cephalization. Retroperitoneal organs we are saying. Retroperitoneal organs, it means the peritoneum, the parietal peritoneum which is lying only on the ventral side, we are calling as a retroperitoneum. And the organisms which are the organs which are consisting of retroperitoneum, we are calling as retroperitoneal organs. Example, we are calling as a kidneys. Then tendon and ligament. Tendon is attachment between the muscle and bone. Ligament is attachment between the bone to bone. Then about the prostomians, deuterostomians. Prostomians are the organisms in which the blastopore develops into mouth first, anus next. Deuterostomians are the organisms in which the blastopore develops into the anus first and mouth next. And examples of the prostomians and deuterostomians we have to see particularly. And the metagenesis. Metagenesis is a phenomenon in which what is happening particularly, it means the polyform is giving rise to medusa and medusa form is giving rise to polyp. That is alternation of generation. Example we can take in the phylum Nidarians. Then particularly, apart from this thing, use of the particular sesamoid bone we are saying. Sesamoid bone, it means what? Patella or kneecap is example, that means knee joint, example of sesamoid bone we are saying. And Haversian system definition, the Haversian canal surrounded by the concentric lamellae and intestinal lamellae, we are calling as Haversian or Haversian system we are saying particularly. And all these things we can take in the second unit. From the second unit, the important questions we can take particularly here. If you are going for the third unit, that is the invertebrate phyla. In the third unit, metagenesis also we are including in the third unit. And then function of the canal system of the sponges for the excretion, respiration, removal of the waste materials, particularly the canal system of the sponges will be used. Metagenesis we got already in the second unit definitions, and then in the particular things actually in the third unit, very short answers if you are taking here, that means excretory organs and circular and then respiratory organs also we have to concentrate particularly, and then about the Chilopoda, Diplopoda, and what they are actually, so which are 100-legged, which are 1,000-legged, and then definitions particularly, if any definitions we had here, we have to see example we can take as a milt and spawn. Milt, it means what actually the whenever at time of the amplexus, the group of eggs which are the group of sperms which are released we are calling as a milt, the group of eggs which are released we are calling as a spawn. Then Mesoarchium, Mesovarium. Mesovarium is actually the peritoneum fold which is attaching to the ovaries. Mesoarchium is a peritoneum fold which is attaching to the testes. And definitions we are seeing particularly in third unit, that these definitions we have to see. And whatever the particular important points, that means tube within the tube organization we are seeing the nematodons, and this all these things examples we have to take particularly. And if you are moving for the fourth unit, that is actually vertebrate phyla. The vertebrate phyla, characters of the cyclostomates particularly we are saying cyclostomates consisting of circular mouth, they are consisting of mesonephric kidneys, body is eel-like, that things we have to see particularly. Example we can take as a petromyzon. Then in this cyclostomatans only particularly, in the fourth unit only particularly, we can take the different things, that means as different rat tail birds we can take the example particularly. Rat tail birds, it means what, they are the flightless birds, example Struthiocamelus. Then Jacobson's organ we are saying it is an olfactory organ particularly which we are seeing the snakes and lizards. And 4 extra embryonic membranes, chorion, allantoin, then yolk sac, amnion. 4 are the extra embryonic membranes we are seeing particularly. All these things, that means important concepts which we are particularly we are seeing in this thing. And then if you are moving, and then Aristotle's lantern in the third unit is also very important. The 5-paired masticatory jaw is Aristotle's lantern, echinoidal consisting of Aristotle's lantern particularly. Then if you are moving for the 6th unit particularly, the 6th unit in neoplasia, abnormal increase of the size of the host cell with the help of the particular parasite, example viruses we can take. Then parasitic castration is a phenomenon in which gonads are destroyed here. Example we can take as a crab. In the crab, parasitic castration is done by the succulina. Then in the same thing actually different things we can take the example, actually nocturnal periodicity is very important for the 2 marks. Nocturnal periodicity, it means the Sheathal microphilial larva which we had in the timing between the 10 p.m. to 4 a.m. that is 10 p.m. to 4 a.m. it is coming into the peripheral circulation, we are calling as a nocturnal periodicity particularly. And apart from that thing, if you are seeing here food vacuole with RBC, that means histolysin enzyme which we are particularly, histolysin enzyme is an enzyme which disintegrate the large intestine and form the food vacuole with the RBC. And infective stages you have to remember, in the endomyma histolytica, tetranucleate cyst is the infective stage, the plasmodium sporocyte is the infective stage, in the ascaris second stage of rabbitiform larva is the infective stage, in the Eukaryaria bank of tea third stage of larva is the infective stage. And then all these definitions particularly in the 6th unit, then about the cannabinoids, about the opioids, and then smack and coke. Smack is obtained by the heroin and coke is obtained by the cocaine. And then about the vulnerable adolescence phase, that is the 12 to 17, and how particularly 12 to 18, how particularly this tobacco is affecting. Tobacco is always involving, interrupting the flow of the oxygen by the release of the carbon monoxide in the body. That point you have to remember. All these points which we had in the 6th unit also we have to remember particularly, and in the parasites, that prophylaxis, all these things also we have to remember. And in the 7th unit particularly, first of all, what is the ecology? Ecology is the study of science which always deals with the study of relationship between the organism and its environment. Atacology and synecology. Atacology is the study of single species in a community particularly, and synecology study of the different ecological communities. Ecosphere, about different arrangement of the ecosystems in a particular biosphere we are calling as ecosphere. And I had about the mutualism, commensalism. Mutualism, in which phenomena both organisms are benefited. Commensalism, one is benefited, one is not harmed here. Want of rule. Then different things, you can take the example particularly for the 2 marks in the last unit, ecology. That means remember the point here actually. In the very short answers, actually many very short answers are there, but whenever we are reading particularly in the 8 marks and 4 marks, maximum points we are covering about the very short answers. But remember the point, and this year is very easy, the very short answers, because the choice has been also given for the very short answers. Out of 15 you have to write 10 particularly. Definitely when you are writing the very short answers, see that actually complete answer should be written. completely the answer is explained. You should not write the single line answers. If you are writing the single line answers, you can't get the marks here. But compulsory you have to explain the complete answer according to the question they have been given, and see that actually whatever the question they have given in the very short answers, compulsory you are answering for that question only in a particular point way.